It was a bitter Christmas Eve at Pastebin HQ. The air outside was heavy with fog, and the air inside was thick with the metallic sting of rust. Gary Newman, not the guy who did cars, the other one, was at his desk, considering his next move. Sipping on his apple Lucozade, he did what he usually did and broke Pastebin with a terrible change. Today it was more severe than normal, but no one ever gave him too much trouble any other time. This shouldn't have been any different. If it wasn't for a ragtag team of homestick fans with nothing to lose and everything to gain. The reaction was immediate. As soon as we saw what he did, we weren't just upset. We were upset over the internet. It wasn't unanimous though. There were a few who didn't notice the change, like a bunch of damn sympathizers. Then he walked in. His resolve was as strong as his grip on that spoon he had. Salty was a man possessed. He only needed a few seconds to lay down exactly how bad our situation was, and more importantly, who was to blame. He wasn't Gary to us anymore. From that moment, he was Gary. But this sudden bout of revolutionist spirit wasn't enough. We still didn't have a plan. There was some infighting before he spoke up. Honestly, I think he knew all along, but he waited till the timing was just so. Blarg laid down a plan so complete it was a wonder he thought of it in that single minute. At the time I wished he didn't. It was a good plan, but I liked the sound of the one with the raw images. But I couldn't ignore his tactical genius. I stood up and called forth our transport Jeremy. It didn't take us to his front door, but from our FOB it was just a short drive to the foot of his desk. That was for later. Right now we needed to prepare. The air was electrified, I would argue. If we were in a club, it wouldn't have been able to handle us at that moment. One group that stuck out at me like a bad fangirl were those Aradius. I mean, I am pretty sure they were mostly dudes, but it was still pretty hot. We locked horns a little in our preparations. Not the smartest thing to do with people who literally have ram horns, but what can I say? I was proud. Proud of the team I was a part of myself. Tat, Take, Fish I mean Bin, Subprogram, Delta, Arctic, XD, Code, and finally me. Oh, and Hiker too, he was late to the party. We were the Divine Force, but without a special move the other groups dismissed us immediately. Can't say I blame them. Another group were eating big before the fight. Now I can understand a good pre-war feast, but fucking salad, are you serious? Now Popcorn, Vision had the right idea for a meal. If only his ideas for a username were as good. Some guy got his boots stolen right before we were supposed to leave. He was probably still looking for them when we left, and another pair of meatheads were too busy flexing to actually come with us. I can't say it's their fault, though, because after Crow ordered the movement, we were stuck up with as many as 11 people in a 4-door with goddamn acorns for seats. We didn't know how we were going to get past the gates, but luckily someone figured it out for all of our sakes. I haven't seen a grind like that before or since, but Ice got up to the controls and the gate was open without us even having to take our foot off the collective pedal. We ditched our cars and went in. For some reason one of those ripped guys from before actually greeted us there. Looking at him I'd say he pole vaulted over the wall. Gary didn't seem fazed. If anything he spun extra casual like for our arrival. The gate was just a formality for his real defense. The shield went up as fast as our time was running out. Well, I mean not really, but it sounds cool when I say it like that. All of us started beating on it in our own way. We didn't really understand how shields work, but it had to go down eventually, right? Even Noob Cake was there doing his part, even though he really had no reason to be there at the time. The only person not doing anything was Pastebin. He knew too well that our efforts weren't going to work in time. He got a reassuring pat on the back and some kind words, but it was only when he turned around that he snapped back to reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, he's a madman, he won't give up that easy, no he won't have it. He stands and Lankest falls off his back and Lankest does what we couldn't all by himself. One single look and a cameo of Zombie later and Gary's last line of defense was gone. We were ready to move in, but Lankest didn't give us a chance. He punched Gary so hard he bent out of shape like some sort of life-sized Wallace and Gromit puppet. I bet Gary really regrets building a wrestling mat in the middle of his office. He didn't stand a chance against the Latin American Thunder. Yet in his haste, he knocked our one chance at resolving the situation over a railing. Blarg saw it first, Dooms saw it second, and it just so happened they were still on their bike. They didn't even hesitate. Well, Blarg may have, but he wasn't driving, so what's he gonna do really? Dooms, though, he didn't care about whether he was going to make it out of this. He didn't think that far ahead. No one topside saw what happened down there. We saw Dooms and D-Ball ride over the edge, and then we saw them bust out of the wrestling canvas. It was only later on we found out just how busy Ice had been. Blarg made it to the Ethernet cable with time to spare, which he promptly wasted trying to plug it in sideways. Despite all the mistakes on our part, we saved Pastebin from one truly awful change. Other threads grew complacent when Gary did what he did. But us. For us, that was the spark we needed. Oh God, do I have to describe the credits too? Fuck that, go look at the Pastebin.